The following podcast contains spoilers for dead birds. You have been warned.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of KFR News Radio. It's your host, Benjamin, but I almost said Miguel Magusto, but I'm not you and you're not me. But hey, how are you, Miguel Magusto?
Is that you, John Wayne?
Am I you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
Brother, I'm not too bad. The weather's really weird right now, where it was like, hey, here's a little touch of fall, and the last 2 days are like, psych, we're back to summer,
Yes,
bitch.
It's what we in Pennsylvania call second summer.
Mm-hmm. Not a fan of it.
I'm sure there's other places that have this, but the beginning of fall here is very weird and fluctuates between warm and cold.
Fluctuates a lot, for sure.
It gets cold, and then it fluctuates between cold and freezing towards the winter. Mm-hmm. And then one random day in December will be like 80 degrees.
Hey, it's like, hey, welcome to some psych.
Yeah, fuck you.
Fuck you, man.
But yeah, the weird weather all around. There is, my new house is very close to a high school, and there is a marching band doing something. So you might hear that from time to time. If you do too much, I apologize.
Nice.
But, marching band aside, Glenn, what have you watched this week that is worth talking about?
Oh my goodness! Well, worth watching or talking about. I might as well just let you go because it's like. So at one point there, I watched Fear Street 1994, which has been a series that people have told me to watch. I didn't really get to watching it because I was debating if I wanted to do it on the podcast and talk about it, but it came out in 2021, so I couldn't obviously do that, so I kind of just watched it on my own and said whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I don't really know what all the hype is about. I did watch this while playing a game, which I often do with movies, to be fair.
How dare you?
So, but like watching it, I didn't get what people were so hyped about. This is, and I don't mean to hurt anybody's feelings here, but this is just like every other, horror movie that's been coming out with a lot of, neon colors and such.
Yeah.
Maybe
Pretty
I have
colors.
to rewatch it, but there's two other Fear Streets that maybe one of those will grasp me. Who knows?
From what I hear, the 1666 one is the best. Mm-hmm. I only heard that from two people, so I could be wrong. But
I can imagine that they're all like connected in a way, but as a solo, whatever.
Yeah.
that's kind of how I felt about it. Then of course we both watched together Venom: Let There Be Carnage, and then I watched our movie this week. So, Miguel, what did you watch?
Yes. I watched a total of 4 movies. The first one I watched was Dear Evan Hansen. One of my friends asked me why when I posted that I watched this, and I explained to him that when Daddy has time to go to the movies, Daddy will go to the movies, and Daddy will see whatever the hell he wants, good, bad, or ugly.
And you can't change Daddy's mind.
And call me Daddy.
Oh, no problem.
This is based off of a Tony Award-winning musical. It's been getting just pummeled by critics, and I understand it's a sloppy movie. It did not translate well from stage to screen. A lot of people are saying it's problematic because it's not a good depiction of mental health. To which I say, yeah, you're probably right, but there's a bunch of different kinds of mental health, so maybe someone's mental health is like this. You don't know. It's a musical for those of you who don't know, and Ben Platt's voice completely carries this thing. It is it's a good story, but it's done in a very mediocre way, if that makes sense. I feel like it was just kind of cut down too much compared to the stage version, but I haven't seen the stage version, so who knows? Maybe the stage version's not great either, but a lot of people like the stage version.
Yeah, I know a lot of people were excited for this movie,
Yeah.
and I was just like, not that interested for me personally.
I mean, I was interested because I like Ben Platt. I like his voice. Yeah. I like musicals when they're good. This really just seemed like it was an amateur director, or at least a first-time musical director. I don't know who directed it. Mm-hmm. Well, I know it was the guy who directed Wonder with Owen Wilson and Jacob Tremblay. Yeah, he directed that. So this might be his first musical, which might be where the problem lies because it is kind of awkward in the musicals. Yeah. But it's a. It's fine. It is what it is. It's not as bad as critics are saying. I think a lot of critics just like to say that things are problematic because it's clickbaity. I get what they're saying. I don't necessarily agree with it. But it's not a good movie regardless. It's an okay movie. So, yeah. If you want to see the musical, go see it. My parents loved it. So, obviously everyone's going to have difference of opinions. So, yeah. Who knows? Mm. Then I watched Dead Birds. We'll get to that in a second. Then I watched Venom, Let There Be Carnage. We have a little video of that on the YouTubes.
Oh, yeah.
That Glenn edited. And wow. I totally have seen it at this point in time.
Good job, what Glenn. I do sometimes.
Good job, Glenn.
So proud. Poor M. Night.
Yeah. You can check out our review on that online. And then today, which was my first day as a stay-at-home dad, I watched The Wolfman while the little man was napping. From 1941 with Lon Chaney Jr. It is the cool thing. Criterion Channel has a lot of the Universal monster movies from the 30s and 40s on there right now. Mm-hmm. And so I've been watching them. And by watching them, I mean just that one right now.
Just that one so far.
But I plan on watching the rest.
Yeah.
I have seen all but 2 others of them, but I would like to rewatch the ones that I have seen. Mm-hmm. But yeah, this was really good. Classic horror movies are often like hit and miss because they either just didn't age well at all, and you don't even see how they thought it was scary back then. Or it's like, this isn't scary, but this is well done and suspenseful, and I could see why people thought it was scary back then. And that's what this one falls into.
I have to watch a lot of those old classic ones as well.
They're good, man. Frankenstein's my favorite. I've been obsessed with Frankenstein since I was a kid. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. I might make you watch some of them. Who knows? We'll see.
Do it.
Yeah, Wolfman was really good. Highly suggest people check that out. I'm just surprised that it took me this long to watch it, honestly. But yeah, that's all I watched this week. Let's get into some news. I know you don't have any news. Mm-hmm. I have a little bit of news. Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage. We talked about it briefly, and we talked about it more on YouTube. Just completely people are saying it's saved film. Movie theaters. I don't necessarily.
I mean, Shang-Chi. Oh, Jesus, Shang-Chi had definitely did that. So I don't.
Yes, but for an October opening, Venom making $90 million in domestic box office without, as far as I know, without any simultaneous release online.
Yeah, I don't think it did.
90 million is great, even pre-pandemic for an early October movie.
Yeah, that's what I was telling. My boss was kind of worried. He's like, I don't know if Venom 2 is going to really pull us in. I'm like, trust me, it will. The first one did fantastic, and people loved it. They're going to come in for this one.
And, 90 million domestic, but worldwide is already 856.1 million. Mm-hmm. So it's close to $1 billion.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, hold on. That's the first Venom. Shit.
Beautiful.
Let's see.
I was like, damn, those are really killing it.
Yeah, hold on.
I told you the first movie did really well.
I saw it. Yeah, I was just like, when I first saw that, I was like, damn, that's really, really high up there. It doesn't say. Fuck you, Google, for doing that. Anyway, yeah, so 90 million domestic is great. In overseas, it's going to make even more. This is the kind of movie that China will eat up. Mm-hmm. And, as much as people might hate it, the movies are really focusing on China because, when there's over 1 billion people in a nation, you want to appease to that crowd.
You gotta.
You gotta appease that crowd. So Venom 2 galvanizes the box office is what Variety is saying. So yeah, that's good news on that front. Mm-hmm. But yeah, no other news for now. So let's get into your pick for our second week of the spooktacular.
Spooky.
Dead Birds.
In this place.
Look at this.
Any of this mean anything to you?
You are not alone.
Who's there?
You are not welcome. You are not leaving.
A group of Confederate soldiers hold up now in an abandoned plantation after robbing a bank and find themselves at the mercy of supernatural forces. Directed by Alex Turner, written by Simon Barrett, stars Henry Thomas, Patrick Fugit, I'm assuming. Last time I kind of made fun of a few of these guys' names just because they were just goofy. Nikki Acox, Michael Shannon, Muse Watson, Mark Boone Jr., Isaiah Washington, and a couple more in there. But that's
Isaiah
really
Washington also produced it.
My man.
Might have been just an executive producer. Let me see here. But yeah, he was involved in the production of it. And where's your sweet little name, Isaiah? Yeah, co-producer. So he co-produced it. What that means compared to producing, I don't know, but that's what it says.
It's just a little extra title.
Yes.
But so I did pick this for a reason. I actually had it confused with a completely other movie, which I'm going to pick down the road. Eventually, but we'll get there. So this I had watched before. I want to make that a full disclaimer. I also don't remember shit about it. So what happens in my family back in, let's talk mid-2000s to late 2010, to where like late 2000s, is we always went to Blockbuster, and my dad and my sister are simpatico, and they both love, no offense to anybody out there, shitty horror movies. So
there's a lot of people that like shitty horror movies.
Almost all of my Fridays and Saturdays, you know how it was with Blockbuster, was filled with either my dad's dramatic action over the top stuff or shitty horror movies that my sister helped him pick. This was one of those movies. Not saying it was shitty already. We can't tell. I can't tell you that already. But this is one of those movies that we had watched from those Blockbuster days, and there was one scene specifically that I remember, and we'll talk about later. But let's get into it.
Let's get
this. So I had completely forgotten, other than last week, that Michael Shannon and Mark Boone Jr. were even a part of this. I know this is kind of early in Michael Shannon's career. I know he did a few big things before. Obviously, not saying this was his big break here, but he did a few things before this. Like he was in 8 Mile and stuff like that.
He's in Groundhog Day.
Yeah, and he was in what is that one movie? Vanilla Sky is what I'm thinking of, I think. Yeah, Vanilla Sky. He's like
also Pearl Harbor.
So he's been in a few things, but obviously after this is where his career really started taking off. Again, not saying that this is the one that got him skyrocketed, but
no, I don't think he was really popular until the critically acclaimed Kangaroo Jack.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. I think Bug is when he became critically acclaimed. And then Revolutionary Road, which is when he got his first Oscar nomination. That's when he really started to take off. But yeah, I love Michael Shannon. If I'm honest, not enough of him in this for my liking.
Not at all.
My biggest problem with this is that it takes place in the 1860s, during the Civil War. And whenever something happens, no one thinks it's a ghost.
Yep.
It's the 1860s when they would give you cocaine because there's ghosts in your blood. And yet when there's strange things happening, no one says, yo, fuck that. There's a ghost in that fucking closet. I'm not going in there.
Pass me that cocaine gum. Something's freaky here.
There's a weird little boy under the bed. No, that's a fucking ghost, sister.
Give it a Coca-Cola, maybe.
Give it a Coca-Cola.
Exercise its demons.
So that was just like driving me crazy the entire time. Is that the writer, Simon Barrett, just had them avoid talking about ghosts at all. And I'm just like, you can have a haunting movie. It's not like Zombies where it kind of cheapens it.
Yeah.
Or turns it into a comedy if they use the zombie word. Like if you talk about ghosts in a ghost movie, they're not going to be like, oh, they said ghosts.
I can't take this movie seriously anymore.
Because people believe in ghosts in real life. No one believes in zombies in real life. Well, no one that's a sane thinking individual, at least. and it just bugged the ever living shit out of me. Is that no one? They were always like, "Oh, something weird is making noises in there.
Something's
Let me go
afoot."
check it out." And then when the first guy goes missing, no one's just like, "Yo, this place might be fucking haunted, and we should stick together."
Yeah.
It just drove me crazy.
Yeah, it definitely was it was a goofy movie, especially on that front. And yeah, the strongest points were actually for me, just literally Michael Shannon and then Michael Boone Jr.
Mark Boone Jr.
Mark Boone Jr. Wow,
Yeah.
Michael. There's a lot of Michaels here going around.
Years.
Yeah. I'm just trying to figure out how to talk about it because it sets it up by this group of what's the word? Not abandoning. Just Confederate
Deserters?
soldiers. Yeah, deserters. Thank you. Robbing a bank and then hiding away in this little plantation house, and just like they're all like, "Oh, we got away from them," and then as soon as like they get to
Funny thing is, I don't think any of them have that strong of Southern accents, but
we're just
gonna
going
do it.
for it.
Yeah.
As soon as they get to the plantation, like they see this weird hound type, this skin fleshy hound just jump at them, and they shoot it, and they're like, "What the fuck was that?"
And that is where the first time it's just like they're it's a boar. It's like, what fucking boar have you seen that looks like that? Oh, it's a shaved dog. What shaved dog have you seen that looks like that? Like, you guys are in the 1860s. You're not supposed to be logical thinkers at all. It's not to mention you're in the Confederacy in the 1860s, so you're supposed to even be more batshit insane. Sorry, Southerners. Well, but not sorry really, because let's be honest. fuck the Confederacy.
Come on, think about it.
Yeah, but when that happened, I was just like, so they're just gonna be like completely dumb, and not be taking like the chupacabra. The chupacabra's been a thing for a while. That fits the description of the chupacabra. This movie's not about the chupacabra, but if they went, "Oh, is that a chupacabra?" I would have been like, "Oh, okay." So,
but you can't believe in ghosts.
Yeah, you can't believe in ghosts, but you believe in chupacabra. Okay.
So it starts out with this scene of like them like kind of surrounding like this dog and like, or well, not this creature, and they're like, "What the hell was that?" And they walk a little bit more forward, and it's like the scarecrow that seems to be a real man. And this is where I think the concept of the movie itself is pretty cool. This hound, and obviously I got to dig further into this, so I'm gonna be explaining a lot, and I apologize. That there's these hauntings going on in this house that, let's say, a little bit of black magic, shall we, goes down in here. And this is where I think the concept of the movie is pretty cool. And other than that, it's not that great, because it's kind of like this vicious circle within the movie of these characters going in and they're coming out, possibly something else. And like then the next group goes in, which could be our group. And then, something might happen to this group.
Yeah.
And then they come out, and then another group comes in. That's the coolest point of the movie for me. But I think the rest of the movie doesn't really hold up to that concept for me.
I would agree. That concept could stay the same. What I wish they had done. So one of the worst parts of this is that they have exposition ghosts.
Yeah.
Where like the hauntings come up and it's like a ghost explaining what happened to them, like a little kid going, "My dad threw me in the well," blah. Stupid shit like that. It's bad writing all around, in my opinion.
And Sam, the character Sam, was really the guy being told all of the exposition, and Annabelle, I will say.
Yeah.
It was between those two that a lot of the exposition was being planted on throughout the whole thing.
Yeah.
And that was for sure what made it.
And Todd
rough.
a little bit.
A little bit of Todd.
Character. But what I think, because it takes place in the 1860s in the South on a plantation, something that was big back then, especially, they never specify what country they're in or what state they're in. I don't think. I could be wrong about that. But in Louisiana specifically, a lot of the slaves of the time practiced voodoo, and there's like stories of voodoo haunting plantations today. In those plantations, mainly just to garner interest to people coming to see it. But like, I think instead of having it be like some white dude just killing his kids and you know, that being the main source of the haunting, I think it would have been cool if the primary reason it was haunted was it like a voodoo curse or something. I think it would have built the world a lot better, and it would have been less like, oh, you know, cliche father kills his kids bullshit that happens in like every horror movie. So I was kind of disappointed, and I think it would have made, you know, as dumb as it would have made more sense if it was something like that than just like this guy kills his kid. I can't remember what it is.
The guy kills his kids for, I think the mother died, so that he's killing his kids to try to bring back his wife or something like that.
Yeah, but they never mention like voodoo at all. There's one part
they mentioned that's the slaves were doing. That's where he got the voodoo from.
Okay, well I must have checked out at that point.
Then he did all the voodoo-y stuff in the
because another thing is that it takes way too long to get to the point with this goddamn movie. For like the first 50 to 60 minutes, they're just wandering around. It felt very amateurish in that sense, where you watch a lot of like cheap horror movies.
Yeah,
a lot of it is just them wandering around the house, because the writer did not come up with a full concept for a feature, so they're trying to pad that length by just having them walk around this house, and they have this cool location. Admittedly, it's a cool location, but they do absolutely nothing with it. And I have no problem with like suspense building horror movies where nothing really happens until the end. I mean, The Wailing, one of my favorite movies, is like that, where it's you know, the first time you watch it, it's kind of boring up until it really gets going towards the end. But with this, there is no payoff. It's just like, white guy. I guess he did do voodoo, so I'm wrong in that sense. But like, they never used the word voodoo. I think it would have been more interesting if it was like a slave putting a curse on the house rather than a white guy trying to use voodoo. And I know there's good voodoo too for people who believe in it. So I'm not saying like all voodoo's bad, but it would have just been more compelling in a way. It just kind of seemed like a slapped together story.
If they
like they had access to this location, they're like, what can we film here?
Yeah, if they definitely got to the point a little bit faster. I think they stumbled around this little love triangle with Sam, Annabelle, and was it William?
Yeah,
William.
Where nothing happens from it.
Where basically, nothing happens from it, and then, you know, William's just slamming Annabelle, you know, around upstairs above everybody while they're playing blackjack or summer poker.
Yeah.
And that's really all that comes of it, and then just Sam's like, I believe you. But there's really nothing that happens within that itself. And then there's one part that it feels or felt super forced to me, and of course this came out in what, 2005? I think I said 2004. Yeah, things are a little bit different then. But there's one part towards the end of the movie where Todd's character, Isaiah Washington's character, Todd, sees like the slaves being tortured and, you know, getting these rituals put upon him. Like, of course, the black guy in our movie, he had to see the slaves, but nobody else was seeing slaves at all the whole time.
Yeah,
that just felt a little bit forced to me. But I mean, yeah, it's hard to sit here and try to pick apart too many things that are really good, except for the core concept of it. That
I think all of the performances are good, with the exception of Annabelle. I think Nikki Acox really phoned this in. Granted, she I think she's mainly known for horror films, so I don't know if she's really done anything of note. Perfect Stranger, Jeepers Creepers 2, The X-Files, Joyride 2. So she's made a career for herself in horror movies. Completely fine, you know, good for her for making money, but she is not good in this, with the exception of maybe like one or two scenes where she like delivers a believable performance, but the rest of the time she's like got no expression. She says her lines in the exact same tone the entire time. But the performances are good. My least favorite thing about this entire movie was the music. I'm pretty sure there is not longer than 30 seconds without music throughout this entire thing.
I don't even remember the music. That's the worst part.
It's like synth what you
no.
think of horror movies, like synth, like screeching ambient sounds, but
Yeah.
it's throughout the entire goddamn movie. So the director clearly did not trust the film that he made, so he added music on top of it to make it creepier, and it didn't work. It just became overbearing and just did not fit well. And then of course it's that same kind of horror movie where like they build suspense, where like there's bumps and thumps and everything, and then when they investigate it, there's nothing there, and then there's a jump scare, a really bad jump scare where nothing happens. It's just it's a bad movie. Like I legitimately cannot see why anyone would like this. Anyone over the age of 15, why anyone
Unless
over
you're
the age...
really into bad horror movies, then that
Yeah,
makes sense.
if you like it because it's bad, 100%, I get that. But this is just to me, it wasn't even fun bad. But I could see why other people think it was fun bad.
There was one scene that I specifically forgot about. I'm just now remembering, and it's how everybody seems to kind of die in like what you would assume is like a normal way when creatures or ghosts are haunting you. Yes, and then of course Todd basically gets jump scared out of oblivion. Is what happened to him. He's in the corn field, trying to run away, and then he just turns around because he hears a noise or something, and there's what used to be Sam. He's now Dead Sam or Ghost Sam, whatever you want to call him. And he turns around, gets the ever-living shit scared out of him so hard that he refuses to be a part of existence anymore. Homie literally just backs up, disappears. He disappeared. Nobody else did that.
He does. I even wrote down what the fuck happened to Todd.
He literally just was like, you know what? I'm gonna go see God.
Oh,
Backed out of there.
In that same scene, Annabelle straight up kicks Michael Shannon's head off just because he's got his mouth and eyes sewn shut.
So literally just boots him.
Yeah, he's still alive. He's got his eyes and mouth sewn shut. So instead of helping him, she kicks his head off.
And sure, Michael Shannon's character might have deserved that.
He definitely did deserve it.
But at the same time, homie's just chilling there with his mouth and eyes sewn shut, and he doesn't know what's going on. And next thing you know, where's his head? Oh, wait, 5 feet away from my body now.
Yeah.
It's a very goofy movie.
I feel like I would have enjoyed it more if I had someone with me, but
that would have been love.
Yeah.
But the scene that I specifically recall from watching this is when all is said and done, and Annabelle is the next to get whacked because William's the one to whack her, except for the second time, but in a more dangerous fashion.
Stop
it. The scene that I remember is William trying to get away from the house, running out of the cornfield, and he gets shot by some Confederate soldiers. And then it turns out that he is one of the creatures now. Mm-hmm. So that was the one that stuck with me. That scene, that core concept.
He's one of the creatures and has digital blood on him, even though he's a non-moving prosthetic being, or whatever you want to call it. That bugged me the shit out of me. Just throw some fake blood on there. You don't need to do it digitally.
Yeah, but as a 12-year-old, you don't really recognize that as much. But
I mean, I didn't see this when I was 12.
Now watching it now, that looked pretty bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the only thing that I remembered from this movie, and I won't say it was a bad watch. I definitely rolled my eyes a few times and cringed a little bit at some certain things, but
yeah,
I definitely won't say it was a good watch either.
I hated this movie, just straight up.
I know.
I think I enjoyed talking about it more just because.
Yeah, it would have been great to just roast it together.
But yeah, it was a fucking horrible movie. I don't. So there's two things I want to take away from this. The first thing. Mark Boone Jr., he dies while trying to save a kid, quote unquote, that fell down a well. I cannot stress this enough. If you are a person and come across a well and hear voices coming out of the well, yes, you should probably try to help them, but get someone to help you first. Don't try to pull a kid out of a well alone, because A, it's either a demon and will kill you, or a ghost and will kill you, or B, it's gonna be harder for you, and you could fall in, or you could fall in and fall on the kid, or the rope will break or whatever. So just get someone to help you. If the kid sounds like he's fine, he's gonna be fine for another 10-15 minutes while you go get someone to help him. So yeah, do that. And then the last thing is, this is called Dead Birds with an S. Dead Birds. There's only one dead bird in it.
Yeah, there was pretty much one dead bird. There might have been a few in the barn, but I don't remember seeing them at all.
Not enough to the point where this should be called Dead Birds.
I would have assumed that the creatures were the birds or some sort of thing, but they weren't even like dead hounds would have made more sense.
Yeah, if they explained how they were birds somehow, maybe.
Like if you had to gather birds and like sacrifice birds at a certain point, that would have made more sense. But we only saw the one bird and like before they entered the cornfield or something like that.
Yeah, it seems like that Simon Barrett was just like, what should we call this? Oh, like step on a dead bird one time.
Oh man.
Oh, dead birds.
We've got the movie title.
We cracked the code.
We keep cracking this code.
I don't have any
that's all I've got as well.
All right. So, Dead Birds, the second week of the KFR Spooktacular. That brings us to the judgment. As always, it has to be a unanimous decision whether or not it becomes a little shelf boy with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. Glenjamin Button, it was your pick, so you get to go first.
I will say you've got to watch this with your friends. Not because it's on the KFR shelf, but because it's a great movie to roast. It really is. We had fun, and we didn't even watch it together. Look at the laughs we just had.
My fun was delayed by a few days, but I did eventually have it.
And here we are.
Yes.
No, this doesn't make it on the shelf.
Yeah, fuck this movie. Fuck everyone involved except for the actors. So I guess just fuck Alex Turner and Simon Barrett. They made a horrible movie. So yeah. I'm sure they did their best, but their best wasn't good enough. So, yeah, this does not become a shelf boy with the likes of Apostle and Handmaiden. That brings us to our plugs for this week. Glenn, you get to go first again.
Yes, I had just recently went to a concert for the first time since before COVID started back up.
Ooh.
And dear God, was it spectacular. I saw a band called Dance Gavin Dance. Obviously, there was a few other bands there that also should be mentioned, but you know what? Maybe I don't remember them off the top of my head because I got small brain syndrome. So I love Dance Gavin Dance. Most of you probably don't like either mine or Mike's music taste, but maybe give it a little taste. Who knows? I know Mike doesn't really listen to these guys either, but still.
It's not because it's not my taste. It's just because I've just never listened. I probably would like them somewhat. Mm-hmm. I'm very picky with my music. So
yeah. But yeah, I would recommend maybe listening to a track or two to Dance Gavin Dance. If you don't like it, just throw a middle finger at me eventually. Yeah. It's fine. I'll understand. I'll literally, if I see you in public and you do that, I'm like, I know what that was for.
Yeah. All my high school friends like Dance Gavin Dance, and I am always like.
They've changed a lot since high school days. I will say that there's different band members. I feel like they finally got a perfect tune now.
Oh, nice!
To where like every album that I've listened to the last couple of years here sounds like almost perfect.
Yeah, I kind of get into a thing where I listen to like 2 or 3 bands over and over again and don't really listen to anything else except for a song here or there from other things. So yeah, Dance Gavin Dance. I'll probably be listening to them. I wouldn't even say again, probably just for the first time.
I would recommend the newest album, Afterburner, for sure, for you specifically.
Fine, I'll do it. Fine. So that is Glenn's plug. My plug for this week is movie related. There's this guy. I'm sure anyone who likes movies on YouTube has seen this guy around, or on TikTok. He's on TikTok too. He's a prop master named Scott Reeder, and he goes over a bunch of different props he has and techniques that he's used in being a prop master for movies. His YouTube channel is called Scott Prop and Roll. And it's just it's a YouTube channel where most of his videos are a minute or less, where he just shows you cool things from his prop master days. He's still a prop master. He's still working. So yeah, he's really cool. He always has really bad puns. So if you're there for bad puns,
I feel
he's
like
got them for you.
I've probably seen this guy on TikTok. He's pretty big on TikTok. Which
yeah,
is,
he's got a lot of really cool stuff. You'll learn about how things are made in movies. I'm not.
This is him.
Yeah, I of course am not an expert in filmmaking, but most of the things he does talk about I already knew. But he does like things like when you're rolling around in broken glass, because sugar glass is still not exactly the greatest thing to roll around in. Mm-hmm. So they got like little gelatin glass, which is cool. It's just a lot of cool stuff that even I didn't know. So yeah, Scott Prop and Roll on YouTubes.
All right.
Welcome to Scott Prop and Roll. This is Scott Reeder, and I finally got a YouTube channel. You may know me from TikTok or Instagram or floating around as reposts here on YouTube, but here you're going to get exclusive content made just for YouTube, along with stuff that TikTok won't let me show, like breakaways and prop weapons. I've been a prop guy in film and television for over 30 years, and I've got a lot of tips, tricks, secrets, and things that you never knew existed, and you probably will laugh a time or two. I propose you watch regularly because I have a propensity for proper puns, and they're proportionally equal to the prop content. You're sure to be a proponent. Thanks for
that. Does it for our plugs for this week. That brings us to our assignment for next week. It is Streaming Roulette Week for week 3 of the KFR Spooktacular. For those of you not aware, we spin the very real physical roulette wheel with all the streaming movies online. We spin it 3 times and we pick which out of those 3 we want to watch the most.
It's our very own Wheel of Fortune.
Wheel of Fortune. And this week we have the filter of horror genre. And so that way we only get horror movies, because it'd be weird to have a spooktacular and we watch like Driving Miss Daisy or something.
Absolutely.
So without any further ado, here comes the first spin. The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll.
Interesting.
This is, let me just double check. I believe it is going to be on Amazon Prime, it looks like. From 1960.
Let me look something up real quick. I mean, the movie is on YouTube, it seems. But, yeah, the full movie is just chilling on YouTube.
Okay, well, do we want to pick that, or you want to spin again?
I guess I'm okay with it. I don't know.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, the Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll.
Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll on YouTube. Dr. Henry Jekyll experiments with scientific means of revealing the hidden dark side of man and releases a murderer from within himself. Obviously, it's just Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Mm-hmm. Directed by Terrence Fisher. Written by Wolf Mankiewicz. I wonder if any relation to the other Mankiewiczes is. And based on the novel by Robert Louis Stevenson, The Strange Case of Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. It is starring Paul Massey, Don Adams, Christopher Lee, and David Kossoff. And that is The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll on YouTube. Here comes a spin number 2. Ginger Snaps.
Interesting. Right up my alley, it sounds.
Let's see. 1 second. This is going to be on Tubi, Pluto, Plex,
Damn,
Voodoo,
it's on everything.
IMDb, Crackle. Yeah, it's on all the free ones like Pluto TV and all that. Ginger Snaps from 2000. Oh boy. Oh man. Okay. Two death-obsessed sisters, outcasts in their suburban neighborhood, must deal with tragic consequences when one of them is bitten by a deadly werewolf. Directed by John Fawcett, written by Karen Walton, based on the story by John Fawcett, or both of them. I don't know. It's starring Emily Perkins, Catherine Isabel, Chris Lempsch, and Mimi Rogers. So you got some relatively big names in there, and by that I mean Mimi Rogers. Maybe it's just Mimi Rogers. Anyway, that is Ginger Snaps, and that is going to be on all the free stuff like IMDb TV, Pluto, Tubi, etc. That is our second spin. Here comes a spin number 3. What Have You Done to Solange? Ooh, is this about... Isn't that like Beyonce's sister?
Let's take a gander.
I mean, this movie's not about Beyonce's sister, but isn't Beyonce's sister named Solange? Anyway, let's see where that is.
This is an Italian film.
An Italian film. It looks like it is on Amazon Prime. Let me just double check that since everything is being fucking weird today. It says could not find the page. Okay, weird. Jesus Christ. This thing is shit in the bed today. Worst day for this to happen.
Well, I've got it here if you want me to read it.
Oh, do you have where it's on, where it's going to be streaming?
Yes, I do.
Okay, go for it.
It's on Amazon Prime. The rest are rentals, which is YouTube and Google Play. What Have You Done to Solange is a 1972 R-rated film, above an hour and a half long, and it is about a teacher who is having an affair with one of his students is reluctant to present an alibi when his lover witnesses the first in a series of murders connected to their school, which is directed by Massimo Dallamano, written by Bruno De Geronimo.
Yeah, Di Geronimo.
And I'll let you take over because I'm not going to...
Written by Bruno Di Geronimo, Massimo Dallamano, and Peter M. Thuet. Is starring Fabio Testi, Karen Ball, Christina Galbo, and Joachim Fuchsberger. Or it might be Joachim. I don't know how the German pronunciation is, but that is the German spelling of it. Also, his name, I'm pretty sure, means fuckburger. I could be wrong. I 2 years of high school German, so who knows? But yeah, that is going to be on Amazon Prime and YouTube and all the rental places. What Have You Done to Solange? So we got Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, Ginger Snaps, and What Have You Done to Solange? I personally am fine with getting rid of Ginger Snaps.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. Yeah, I'm okay with either. Honestly, What Have We Done to Solange, or What Have You Done to Solange, or The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll. Jekyll because of Christopher Lee. I definitely am interested in that for sure.
Yeah, I'm leaning more that, but you know.
Yeah,
I am interested. I think I might want to watch What Have You Done to Solange when I don't have to talk about it and pronounce Italian words and names.
Yeah, I'm cool with some Jekyll.
Okay, so The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, that is going to be on YouTube, possibly Amazon Prime. Amazon Prime is being super weird right now, but it does say that it's supposed to be on there, so keep an eye out for that.
If you cannot bear to see a man change before your eyes, then shut them for just a few seconds, if you can, and listen for the shuddering sounds to end. They mark the evil transformation of Henry Jekyll to his monstrous other self, the cruel, depraved Edward Hyde.
For God's sake, man, don't kill him. Let me alone, Jekyll. Let me alone. Jekyll.
Here is the century-old horror classic, filmed as it has never been before, with a cast that takes the living shape of the characters that have enthralled billions of readers all over the world. This is Dr. Jekyll, one man with two faces and a mind split in two.
Will we ever know who we really are?
Thank you, everyone, for listening. As always, you can check out our website, www.keystonefilmreview.com, on Instagram, Keystone_film_review, Twitter, Keystone_film, Facebook, Keystone Film Review, TikTok, Keystone Film Review, YouTube, Keystone Film Review, and on Letterboxd, I'm Mike, KFR.
And I'm Glenn, KFR.
And that will do it until next week when we watch The Two Faces of Dr. Jekyll, which is essentially Jekyll and Hyde. It's going to be fun, probably. Who knows?
Should be. We'll
Should be.
Or crazy.
Oh, spooky. Bye-bye.
Bye.